Hi everyone, welcome. Today for this video we want to talk to our advisors, faculty, and professional advisors about our Bachelors of Health Science degree and give some general guidelines for advising students when it comes to this degree from first semester students all the way until students who are finishing their bachelor's degree. I want to give you guys some pointers. So when it comes to it, the Bachelor of Health Science degree is for anyone interested in anything related to the world of health and some of the sciences behind that. This is a good degree for nurses, dental hygienists, PTs, OTs, MDs, nutritionists, people who want to perform exercise, really anything in that health world, even working at hospitals and administration. And so this degree is very open for a lot of students. At some point, you may experience a student who wants to switch into this degree, and we have designed our Bachelor's of Health Science degree for people to come in at many different stages and it to be really simple, save them a lot of time and money. And so we're going to kind of talk on some of the highlights here. So to begin with, we want to talk about that kind of associate level, areas A through F. It's pretty similar to every other associate degree out there that y'all have kind of advised for before for students. Currently, what I'm showing you is the pathway sheet for the Bachelor's of Health Science. It's good for both the associate level and the bachelor's level. Do realize that you should go on and look at the updated pathway sheet on the advising page through Georgia Highlands College. That's where we keep the most up-to-date information on classes and when they're offered, and then if any changes have occurred, not this video. So areas A and B are pretty similar. As you can see, there is no requirement for college algebra, so they can use 1001 in that area, so it does keep that open, but again, keep in mind, depending on what the student's goal is, will really determine what math that they may need to take. Area B, Area C's, all of those are pretty standard across the degrees. And so some of the big things to note would be Area D and the science choices. They do have to complete a science sequence, but they can do something like biology 1010 and 1012 together, or they can do something along the lines of chemistry or physics. When it comes to that, our recommendation for you advising Bachelor of Health Science students at the associate level and bachelor's level is to figure out what their interests are. Because our degree is designed to be flexible for a variety of different types of students, we encourage you to sit down with that student and talk with them about what their goal is. Where do they see themselves? What are they trying to achieve? Because the requirements to be a medical doctor versus a PT versus a nutritionist, and then even versus someone who wants to work as an administrator in a hospital or work with individuals in health in another aspect, those requirements are going to be much, much different. And so really talking with that student early on to figure out what their goals are so you can align those correctly. So a basic student who isn't planning on going to maybe some type of graduate school may be fine with a biology 1010. Even nursing students are fine with that. Nurses fit into our program quite well. But if they're wanting to go something else, you want to start them off with chemistry and majors chemistry, so 1211 and 1212. And so these are important conversations to have and have them early on so you can learn, but also the students can learn what's expected of someone that wants to go into the field that they're looking at. Area E is pretty simple, and then Area F, again, is where most of those things change. One of the big things is that Math 1401 falls into Area F. It can fall into Area D, but again, depending on what they're trying to achieve, they may need to go up to calculus or have other maths in that area. So that is one important class for them to take. They'll also take things like anatomy and physiology. We have two different ones they can take. The biology one, and then we have a physical education anatomy and physiology. Either one is acceptable for our degree, but again, it may be important to look at where they're going. If they're planning on staying with Georgia Highlands, getting their bachelor's degree with us, and then going into the workforce, the PhD version of A&P is great. However, if they're wanting to go to graduate school, they may need that biology version of A&P. They also need Psych 1101 or Sociology 1101, and one of those may fall into Area E. And so if they have it fall into Area E and they're still trying to figure it out, one recommendation is maybe to take both, Those, for most programs, are going to be helpful. And then the rest of Area F gets to be filled out with a variety of different courses. So there's a lot of prefixes there. Any are perfectly fine, from exercise science to math to psychology to sociology, biology, chemistry. And again, those are going to be very individualized per student. And so this is an individualized degree. It's not cookie cutter, because we want to meet students' needs and help them to get out of our program as quickly as possible with spending as little money as possible. So early advising and talking to them about what they want and making that program is definitely going to help them get out with spending the least amount of money. And so as they're moving through this, at some point they're going to be ready to apply to our Georgia Highlands. They're going to be able to apply to actually get in the program. It is not a formal process, but there are some things that you do need to consider when it comes to applying into the Bachelors of Health Science degree.
So to apply to the Bachelor of Health Science degree, the students do need a minimum of 40 hours, and these can be completed in any class that would fit in the Bachelor of Science areas A through F at the time of application. And they do need to make sure that they have Math 1401 taken prior to the application. With the minimum of 40 hours, that can be having all of area A through E complete. But Math 1401 is a prerequisite for our biostatistics course, which is recommended to be taken in the first semester that a student has been admitted into the health sciences. So that is a really important marker for an advisor to take into account when looking at the 40 hours. If a student does apply in spring with 40 hours, our application process will kick back to them a provisional admittance that will say you are admitted if you take Math 1401 in the summer. They do need a minimum of a cumulative 2.5 on all classes they have taken, and a minimum GPA of 2.0 in the math and sciences. It is important to note that for all bachelor's degrees, the Area F courses do have to have a grade of C or better for them to graduate. So a class that they took possibly as a transient that they got a D in that would be acceptable for the associate level graduation will not be acceptable for the bachelor level graduation. So that's something to note. They do have to be a grade of C or better to count towards the 40 hours.
Perfect. One thing to note, the application for our Bachelors of Health Science degree can always be found on the Bachelors of Health Science homepage at Georgia Highlands College website. Once students are accepted into the program, they may still have classes to take in area A through F, and that's perfectly fine. They can kind of fill them in where they need to, or wait till the end to take them. We do suggest kind of dispersing them throughout their time as they're taking courses. There is a suggested kind of flow for those courses here on the side of our pathway sheet. The second page of our pathway sheet really goes into the bachelor level courses, which are 3,000 and 4,000 level courses. This is the suggested program map for someone who has completed everything in areas A through F and their institutional requirements. So really that second 2 years where they're only taking classes at the 3,000 and 4,000 level. Our program is designed to have students start in the fall. There can sometimes be students accepted for spring or summer to take a class or two while they're finishing up some area A through F. But it's designed to start in the fall, and it's meant to take 4 semesters if you're taking at 15 to 17 hours per semester. And this is the suggested kind of coursework for that. As you're advising students, if they're taking 15 to 17 hours, it's very straightforward. They are broken up into 8-week courses, so there's a first 8 weeks and a second 8-week course that we offer every semester just to help them be able to spread some of their coursework out and not have as many classes at one time. One of the things that is important is if you have a student who is going part-time, so maybe they're not taking all of those classes, you may be trying to figure out what classes are important to take. Well, the ones that are labeled on here not as electives in this pathway sheet are the most important courses for them to take first. So things like this, health promotion or biostatistics. These courses are ones that are required for them to graduate and are very specific courses. and they're usually only offered once a year. So in the fall, we will only offer these, and they will not be offered in the spring semester. And so if students miss out on these courses, it'll be a year before they can take them. And some of these courses are prerequisites to courses they'll need further in their program, and so it'll put them behind. So when advising students, always have them take the courses that are specified first, and then electives if they are wanting to take more classes. And this goes for all of these semesters. Once they've finished all the specified courses, if they still have some left over, they could finish those up to earn their degree. When it comes to electives, there are lots of options for electives. We have a list here of courses that can be counted in their elective area. And then we also have certain courses that you will know the schedule of. So we're looking a year, 2 years in advance, and we're putting what courses are going to be offered in the fall versus what's going to be offered in the spring and what's going to be offered in the summer. These will change. So always make sure you're looking at the current pathway on the Highlands website. And they can take any course kind of in here that fits their needs and what they're trying to achieve. So some they may do it because they're interested, some it's because they need for grad school. And so when it comes to these electives, we really encourage you to work with your student and what they're wanting to achieve. Look at the school or certain programs that they're wanting to get into, or multiple schools, or PT school has a cool online Excel document that shows you what every school needs to get into their graduate program. And you should be working with that student to help identify what classes are going to be most effective in saving them time, money, and allowing them to get where they want to, whether that's a graduate school of some type, another program, or even just going into the workforce. One of the biggest things we do suggest for all students is an internship. So HSCI 4999, our internship, is a really important class because this world is full of connections, and that's going to help you figure out what you like doing and help you build a network that can help you find where jobs are. And so usually we say internships at any point are great, but definitely during that last year are also well when you have more knowledge and are able to apply that and show potential employers what you're capable of. Yeah, and so that's kind of the basics of this. If you do have questions, you can email any faculty member in the Bachelors of Health Science degree, or you can also reach out to a professional advisor or anyone that may be helped, like your advising specialist. But we're here to help you and answer those questions to help you move along. But it's really very simple. It's a very flexible program, and we're designed to help all students interested in the healthcare world earn a bachelor's degree and be able to move on to their next steps to be successful.